Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala with the Pop XP. And joining me tonight for Crowdfunding Comics, as always, is my lovely co-host, the most amazing Frank Amazing there ever was, there ever will be, and is here tonight. Frank, how are we doing, my friend?
Excellent, excellent. Another week of crowdfunding.
Yes, sir.
Last week, after we shut down the show, you and I, Billy, we go behind the scenes and we start reaching out to people, and we've gotten some responses. So I'm excited to book some more guests and
man. What we've confirmed, what we've had, who's reached out to us. It's been a crazy past 4 days or so.
Yep.
Some of the names we have coming on the show is unbelievable. I can't wait to start pushing these promos out, and man, dude, it just keeps getting better and better and better.
Yep. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
and
we thought things were gonna die, but nope, they didn't.
We thought it was gonna die and be like dust in the wind, but son of a gun, folks, we're still here. We're still here. But in all seriousness, we have a great guest tonight. A gentleman that's no stranger to the show. We've had him on. He's worked on some many great projects, mainly in the animation field. He's dabbled in comics, and he's hitting it hardcore. And he's hitting in a genre that really needs some more creators supporting it, so we can get our youngsters into comics and keep the traditions alive. So without further ado, everyone, let's welcome John the Animator Celestri.
Hi guys. Hi,
hey,
Nile.
John.
Hi, Frank. Hi, how you doing?
We are doing well, my friend. How have you been?
I'm doing well. I'm busy, but I'm doing well.
And that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
That is how it should be. And Lee Ditzworth, the mustache is back. Yes, Lee, the mustache is back.
The finest mustache in all of the 50 states.
Yeah. Gus, welcome. Mobsy, it's a pleasure. TJ, fantastic. So we got some great people in the chat tonight. And John, so last time we had you on the show, you were on for Rough Sketch and Animation of Comic Book Portfolio, which was, what Frank mentioned actually, before we started the show, was a very smooth campaign. Like as far as, you were advertising it, promoting it, getting it out there. Your updates were great, and the book arrived fairly quickly, and I'm a proud owner of it myself. It's a great book. The quality is outstanding, and obviously your artwork is phenomenal. I was hoping to get this other cam up and running tonight, but we'll mess with that. And then of course my let's see if we get it, my Boba Fett.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you go.
Perfect. I had to take it off the wall of the studio and get it up
there
here.
You go. There you go. Did you thumbtack it up there?
Oh no. Duct tape and staples. I drove staples right through the antenna, so people wouldn't see it. So we were good. But so tell us a bit about it. That was your first campaign. What was it like? How did you find the process?
Well, I had been a self-publisher back in the 90s, and in fact I started in publishing. Mm-hmm. So I had a pretty good idea of what the pitfalls were if you don't get everything up and running and make your deadlines and things of that sort. But I enjoyed I decided to introduce myself by putting out basically my portfolio of animation and comic book work that I'm starting. I knew I was going to do the John the Animator comics. So this was my way of introducing myself and getting out something that people I thought would be would enjoy, in terms of artwork wise.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was it like though, making like putting your portfolio into a book? I mean, are these all pieces that you own that are in this book, or did you have to track them down?
No, these are all
publish
mine.
them?
No. I've carried my stuff around with me for 45 years. In fact, 50 years, or maybe. In fact, if in the first page is I had my. I started with some drawings that my mom kept when I was 6 years old. So I've had that for 65 years.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, I actually had a question, and I will leave this person nameless, who was like, "Oh my God, I love his work. I love the shows he worked on," and you know, he's naming them off. He's like, "Does he ever sell his originals?" And I said, "I don't even know if you have originals with that stuff. You know, when you're working for Filmation and things like that. I mean, do they keep all that stuff?"
Oh yeah. Filmation kept all that stuff, and because most of it all went into the library. You know, Filmation had its library, and they'd catalog everything. What I kept was mementos, drawings that I really enjoyed. You know, like the Boba Fett rough sketches. Those things. Those things are all personal attachments. You know, so. With Rock and Rule, I had my assistants Xerox all the rough drawings, all the drawings that I would do. So I have all of the drawing Xerox's full sizes of all the Rock and Rule drawings. Batman, I have all of those commercial drawings because those were. In the commercial, you'll see in the rough sketch, you'll see the Batman sketches that I did. You know, him pointing. You know that the sellers. Well, those were not shipped, but or Xerox. They were actually faxed in 1988. We used a fax machine, a high quality fax machine, to to do that, and it took about a minute to 2 minutes each fax to get through. So that's dial-up. Remember?
There we are.
Yeah, there you go. Do it overnight. You know, when it was cheaper to run the telephone. So.
That's incredible. Now, John, for those of the viewers out there that are watching this live, they're going to be watching this recorded, and they're not familiar with the first time we had you on the show. Give us a bit of your origin story, how you got into art, how you got into animation, how you got into comics.
Okay. Well, I always wanted to be a cartoonist from the very youngest age. So I found that was my way of escape. I was a bullied kid. So therefore, it was my special power. You know, I found that I could draw, and so that's what I used to escape into my world, and that's what I wanted to do for a living. I wanted to be a comic book artist. I wanted to be a comic strip artist, and I didn't go to school for that. I went to, I'm familiar with Xavier High School in Manhattan. It's a junior ROTC school. Back in the day, back in the 60s, that's where I went. So it was an academic school, and everything cartooning was always a hobby for me. But I always wanted to get into cartooning. I tried my own strips. I copied everybody. I learned from everybody. Finally, after what is it? I was at the Alice Tully Hall in 1972, ancient times, when they had the 50th Disney retrospective, and I saw Peter Pan for the first time in it was like 15 years. I mean, that was one of my favorite cartoons, and when I was watching it, I said, "That's what I want to do."
Yeah,
and so that's when I started looking into animation. Went to school, summer school, a School of Visual Arts. Connected to old Popeye animators, and at New York Institute of Technology out of Old West Perry, Long Island, in 1975. Started learning with Popeye animators and Terry Toon animators, And that's how I developed into being an animator and so on and so forth. So, but going back into comics today, I'm just going back to what I wanted to do when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
I will say it's pretty interesting that John went to Xavier School in New York. Did you see any X-Men there?
Nah. Well, we didn't call them the X-Men back. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I remember. I mean, I thought of that. Said, well, that's kind of interesting, but they never did. They were called the Knights.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, even though the X-Men were they were the original group was maybe about 1963, 64 when they came up. So I was a freshman and a sophomore in high school when they came up when that hit the stands.
Wow. So, what are your feelings about, because you talked about like Popeye and some of these 2D animation projects. How are your feelings about, bringing it to a new platform with it being 3D? I know that, there was supposed to be a 3D kind of Popeye version. Are you in support of stuff like that, or is it leave it alone in that format?
Well, here's the thing: is that I understand the corporate mentality of trying to get as much out of an intellectual property as possible, but some things work in some mediums and some and not in others. Caricature like Popeye, it has a charm, even though there's a sort of a real roughness to the drawing, but that's the human element. When you start bringing it in, it becomes monstrous when you give it an extra amount of form. And so it loses acuteness or an appeal. And it really depends on how you handle it. The Popeye cartoons were of, I mean, everybody has their own, growing up. You have your things that you want to maintain as that's for me. And that's fine if it's kept, if you change it and you dismantle it and you throw aside everything, things that had been done in the past and say, okay, from now on, it's only this, then I disagree with that. Mm-hmm. And I think when you throw away, like say the Disney, the Disney cartoon features and make them into live action films, well, you're not giving me anything new here. You're just milking, a property. So with Popeye, I never really saw where it was going. Now maybe it was, I think it was they were trying to get a two-dimensional aspect or a cartoony aspect of it. And I've seen some scenes, but I really don't know if it could be pulled off, because even Fleischer couldn't pull off a feature film of Popeye. The most you had were the 3 featurettes, which were about 15 minutes long. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it really, the story has to be, it really has to be solid. And I don't know if some things really work, in long form.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, I don't even know. Are they still moving forward with that 3D film? I saw it said like releasing 2012. Like last time I saw something for that. But I'm wondering if with I know with the Peanuts movie, they did the 3D version through Blue Sky, and it didn't do the best. It didn't do bad, but it didn't do the best. So I wonder if they kind of pulled the Popeye at that point, because I haven't heard anything about this in a few years now.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it's interesting because you look at like 2D animation and you look at the craft, and I find myself. I go back a lot. I have my Plex server in my house, and I have a folder there called, it's like my inspiration folder, and I have like all my videos and stuff. And just the other night, I was watching one on Walt Disney, and I mean, whether you love or hate the guy, I mean, if you look at what they crafted and what they did, and the techniques they created just to stand out, you know, with the multi-plane camera and all that stuff. You have to give credit, and it's cool to see what they did and how they put it together and how they gave depth in life. Because people are like, you know, I watched Toy Story and this and that, and it's like I cry, and it's like, you know, when animation can make you cry and make you forget that they aren't real, that they're animated characters, they've done their job. But it's funny because you hear a lot of that with the 3D animated films, you know, Toy Story and all those movies. But you don't realize when you watch those Disney films, you get lost in that same realism. In any of the great animated films, you get lost in it. When they cry, you feel the emotion, you see the expression. And I mean, it's definitely something I would love to see back. I would love to see the craft back at it, and obviously mix it up. I mean, you're going to have some 3D. You see it with animated television, but so, you know, it's definitely an amazing craft, and I hope it's one that someday may hit theaters again, but I don't know if they can hold up.
You have to have people with vision to actually do it, but they also have to have the staff with the training and working together over a period of years. You can't just, you know, shoehorn people in and just get them together for one production and that's that. It just doesn't work. You in live action, for example, the Warner Brothers lot, all of the character actors that were in the Warner Brothers lot of the 1930s and 40s, that's what gave the energy to the image of that studio. But today you don't have that. It's catch as catch can. So
now, I mean, in your eyes though, like with 3D animation and everything, like I know the animation course because I've taken them. If you do a 3D animation course, you have to take some 2D classes. They want you to understand 2D animation, but it's not. That's, you know, it's 2 courses typically. You know, you know certain fundamentals of animation. I don't feel that, you know, kids getting out of school today could be. I don't know. I feel like a part of it's lost. I feel like part of the craft is getting lost because a lot of it's going to computers. Yeah.
Well, the computer is only a big pencil, and it's only as good as what the knowledge you bring to it. So if you do not know how to draw with a pencil, you're not going to know how to draw. You won't have the aesthetic ability to manipulate and to know what to do with the computer. You know, so you have to still have the basics. And whether you know squash and stretch or acting, timing, don't wait for the computer to do it. So many of those classic shows that you think about today, a lot of them, they were all done off the top of their heads in terms of in the 30s and 40s. They didn't do a lot more than 1 or 2 pencil tests. It wasn't like, you know, let me shoot it and futz around with it until it works. No, you had to know the theory of movement. It's like as much as a theory of music. And so much of that is together because it used to be that the director and the musician who was scoring the film, they worked together in the same room. In fact, the director's room was called the music room because it would be a piano in there, and you would play. The guy scoring the film, the shorts, would be playing, and you'd be working back and forth with them on exposure sheets and what have you. So there is a lot more to it than just knowing how easy to make fur, you know, a texture. It's not that. It is what goes into the actual soul of the character you're doing. And there's a lot more to it than puppetry.
Yeah. Now, do you think, and I just had a couple more questions, just because while I have you on, and you know, this is your field and your craft. One question I have is, do you think that because of television and how things were starting to get mass produced and the animation styles were dumbed down, or it was like, you know, just animate this part of the body or that part of the body, and they had like still sections. Do you think that hindered the craft at all when it came to, like, you know, the feature films and what Disney and them are doing?
No, that's got nothing to do with it. No. I mean, you look at a lot of the Nelvana films of the 1970s, like Rock and Rule, Easter Fever, we held, where you have animation is all planned. So whether you hold it, I mean, for example, instead of holding a solid, just having a dead held body for, say, 24 frames or for 1 second, well, what you do is you run a cycle of, you trace the body, if you're moving the stuff around, like the head's moving, the arms moving, but instead of holding the body, you do a 3 drawing cycle in which you trace the body on 3 sheets of paper, but there is, and then you run that, you repeat that, as a cycle while you are running everything else as full. Well, what happens is that it gives you a boil. It gives you a movement of there is almost like it's breathing, the body. So it keeps it from going dead, and that's the thing that you got to be careful about, is being dead.
So how do they get everything to be proportioned on when you're animating and drawing? How come nothing changes size?
That's the skill of the animator.
Yeah.
Being able to keep shape and form. I mean, you have a model sheet and you know what the form is going to be. You say, okay, these are the proportions, and so you slip the piece of the model sheet of the size that you want underneath your drawing, and then you make sure that you maintain that shape. And so, but once again, it's like, how does and not being facetious here, but how does a really good surgeon not nick the arteries?
Yeah.
You have to have hand and eye coordination, and you have to know how to make that work, because you're talking about drawing a picture that's maybe about 8.5 by 11, and then blowing it up to a 20 by 40 foot screen, and everything still seem like it's not boiling all over the place, and you're losing the shape. It is the skill of the artist involved.
Very cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I talk all day about animation, but that's not why we're here, though. I tell you, I just want to keep talking about it, because that's my passion. My passion is in animation.
Well, you know what? Before we go on with that, on my YouTube channel, John Celestri. Okay, I've got many videos on the principles of animation, that I explain using Snuffy and Zoe, my animated characters, all of the various elements there. So anybody could, they're all for free, just study them and look at them, and that'll give you a really good idea of basic principles. At least.
Well, let me ask, are you currently, or would you consider working in animation again?
No, arthritis. I'm not going to do that. And I'll be 71. I don't want to listen. And there's nothing there. I mean, I would rather have my own characters and bring what I know to a new generation that isn't being. I want to create new characters and not deal with trying to resurrect old things.
Understood. Makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And with some new things you got going on, John the Animator comics. Fun comics for the inner child. So tell us a bit. Now, you do have a video, but it's about 6 minutes long, so I'm not going to run through that. So if anyone wants to check that out, by all means, go ahead. But I mean, this is cool, because this is, and we talked about this last year on the show when you told us about this being the next campaign, is the fact that you're doing what is really neglected in the comic book industry, and that's bringing new, refreshing comics to a younger audience, an all ages audience, let's say. But we need to have there's tiers, right? Growing up, that's why kids play with Legos that are as big as their heads to graduate to the Legos that make what looks like a realistic Batmobile. We gotta go through our tiers of development, and I think what you're doing is fantastic, and it looks cool. It looks so cool. I'm just going to go through some of the images you have here.
I will say, not only just in comics, but in the crowdfunding scene as well of the all ages. I think it's missing out too. So appreciate you for bringing this as an option for us comic fans.
Well, here's the thing: is that the challenge, and I look at this as the entire industry, the comic industry is neglecting the 12-year-olds and under. You know, and I call them seedlings. You know, that those young kids from 4 to 12, they haven't developed yet. They're in the process. They go through their stages, and unless you give them something that speaks to them without you trying to give them snark or make it seem like, oh well, really we're going to talk down to them. You know, that's not good. I mean, I grew up watching Bugs Bunny, the same Bugs Bunny cartoons, the classics of the 1930s and 40s. And that is the kind of thing that the whole family watched, you know, whether it be the innuendo and the whistling and whatnot, but it was still a fun thing. It went, you know, you had dad could understand one joke and the kid would understand something else and the mom would look something else, but it was something for the general. This is the way I look at the comic books that I want to do, is for all ages, but without talking down to anybody. You know, speaking straight to them, like for example, with the 4 to 8-year-olds, 4 to 7-year-olds. I mean, I look at that they have a particular type of need. You know, they're not they're developing. Everything is an ooh and an ah kind of wonderment. So with Snuff, for that group, I have the Snuffy and Zoe Toy Box Adventures. And it's focusing on 2 sibling bears that who jump into their magic toy box and have adventures. When they get bored, they jump right in there. And the idea is to encourage young readers to explore their imaginations and create their own entertainment and stories. And I'll do, you know, for example, like with the first adventure is Snuffy and Zoe try to steal cupcakes from a dragon. There you go. you know. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? You know. And the other thing is Snuffy and Zoe's soccer ball bounces into the magic box and is lost inside. And in trying to find it, they are captured by a gang of pirates made out of colorful balloons. And there you go. You know, but it's not a kind of thing where saying, oh, you know, I like to bring whimsy and a sense of innocence back to the comics, but not the sugary type of innocence. We're talking about innocence for children as to the way they naturally are. You know, they haven't been smeared around too much. You know, as soon as they start getting into puberty, they have to deal with a lot of stuff. But even as a child, they still have to deal with things, and they need to be able to create their own imagination. They have to be able to. Everybody's, you know, has imagination muscles, for example. But if you don't use them, if you don't develop them, you can't imagine things then. You know, you just can't do it. It's you know, the kids today have so much to occupy them. I mean, imagination for me was, I was bored, so I had to make stuff up. Yeah. You know, today, tell me how many hours of boredom does a kid have to forced to do something? It's too easy, but that's the world we live in. So I'm trying to give, you know, a series that kids would be enjoying. Now, from 4 to 7, that's one. From 8 to 12, I've got the Nicky Nardson Mega Moose, and that's about a kid who is bullied, and he's magically given extraordinary powers. He's given a magic feather, and with just tickling it, he sneezes and he turns into Mega Moose. He turns out into a Minotaur type being with all the powers of the animal kingdom. And so It's aimed at the youngsters dealing with surviving elementary and middle school society. So the thing about it is, kids do, wish. I remember wishing. I enjoyed the original Captain Marvel. I mean, that was the whole thing.
This is
it. Okay, yeah. Scroll back and you'll see Achu. Okay, scroll back it down. Okay, now you see that it says ACHOO. Well, it stands for ant, cheetah, hawk, owl, otter, and the exclamation is for many more powers. He has all the powers of all the animal kingdom, and it's the same way that you have that. So it's kind of it's my little homage to the original Captain Marvel, but it's in a different format. It's in a different way because, yes, animals do have all these powers, and so this is what I'm doing with these two series. I figure I can offer things for the entire family, and then they go into the 13, 14-year-old, which is what comic books are today anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Herenberg says, so it's Shazam meets Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, when I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be Mighty Mouse. I would have flying dreams about being Mighty Mouse. Mm-hmm. So I'm only doing, I'm not channeling, I'm just going back to what I was when I was 5 to 12 years old.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I love your style because it does bring back the good days of animation.
Yeah.
I really love the way Snuffy and Zoe are drawn.
Oh God.
I mean, I have to say it for me, I love Chuck Jones. I love the Chuck Jones cartoons. And, you bring me right back to what I loved about, that era of Looney Tunes and the character designs and stuff like that. And I just see it right there with Snuffy and Zoe. Something about their character design I'm like in love with.
I'm glad you like that. The thing about it is that it is classic animation because they're round. You could have a lot of straights against bends drawings, and there's a lot of squash and stretch, elaborate stuff. But the thing about it is that that's how you draw. It's easier, and there's more appeal to that. You can move things around. You can balance things out. They are not aggressive. Harsh lines are aggressive. So, and in animation, it's a lot easier to move things around if there's a natural S curve to them.
Yeah. It's great. And talk about too, because the size of your comic.
Yes, and that's what I'm going. That's the thing is this is the Richie Rich is your basic standard comic book. Mine is oversized. It's 8 1/4 by 11 3/4, and I decided to make him in fact it's slightly bigger than a magazine. It's more like what you would see in say like the Tintin books, or European books. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to give as much space and to breathe the drawings, and besides it doesn't cost any more, at least with these printers, to do it that size as it is to do it, the standard size. So they're just cutting paper away. So let's use it all. And then, it's also not floppy, it still be a saddle stitch, but, with staples, but the paper is going to be 100-pound, very heavy stock in the same way, like 130 pound stock for your cover. So these are about as heavy a stock paper as you get in the market.
So I mean, these are durable then too.
Yes.
So these will hold up better for kids.
Yes.
When they're reading these, and they could take the abuse because it's not really like your traditional kind of newsprint. Right. Especially when you're talking even some of the new paper, it's very thin.
Yeah, the paper is very, very, very durable. I've got three books, the two Snuffy and Zoe books, and then the one Mega Moose. All of them are standalones. They all complete their stories. Mega Moose. There are two stories in the first issue, a 12-pager and a 16-pager. But I do have for the Snuffy and Zoe draw and color. That's a coloring book, the full size, the same size, in which I give drawing lessons and also simple drawing lessons, and then also coloring.
Now, that's a separate book, or is that interactive within the books?
No, okay. It's separate. That's a separate book. That's a 16-page. Well, it's a 24-page book, really, but it would cover. So, so that's the. So you have a lot of different things going in that one book. So that is a way to help develop the kids also imagination-wise.
Yeah, and Brian Blevins loves you. Not as much as he loves us, but he loves you. He also asked a question earlier.
Yes.
And Brian Blevins is part of the Pop XP team. He says, John, do you have any original art from the 80s cartoons you can add to your campaign? I must have it. I must have it all.
I'm sorry. You want me to put you in my will?
He's probably going to respond with a yes.
Yeah. But can you give him, like, do you have a cell where it's just like an arm or a leg?
No, I don't have cells.
Oh.
No, I just have drawings.
That would be great.
You can't keep those. They wash them and reuse them.
Yeah, no, they do.
Hey, listen, I can draw. I can draw him, but no,
he needs a He-Man. Okay. Did you work on Brave Star?
Yeah.
You did.
Freelance that off of that. I had already left Filmation. As at least not the studio itself. I went and I was freelancing and moved to Rhode Island because I couldn't take California anymore. So we left in 86. Late 86 or beginning of 87. Sorry, yeah. And so I was working from them even still. Until I received a phone call saying, "Well, the studio's shut down. Laura Mal just shut everybody down, and 450 people had to go find work."
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
That's the ugly side of the business.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the business now is overseas, isn't it?
All of this has been overseas for 30 years.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible.
One of the things that I love about Snuffy and Zoe, because you have on your Twitter account, and I made it my favorite so that you can watch it. There's just like a 7-second clip of them playing the drums and the tambourine.
Yeah.
And just watching that over and over again. It goes back to what Nile is saying, just that like old school animation, and just it brings you back to the childhood, and it brings you back to like you can't be having a sad day just watching that over and over again. They're just like having fun just by playing drums and tambourine.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's cowbell. Snuffy is giving you as much cowbell and putting as much effort into it as he possibly can.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So, there's also, I know you want to, we do have the top tier of Boba Fett as the top tier, is the full length here figure with holding his tuning fork rifle, and so that's the top tier with all of the books, and and there's also an ashcan edition of the Mega Moose, which is again the same size, large size, where all of the drawings for that for those two stories, I show all of the roughs, to present as. So that's the 5. Those like that. They're all full size, and so
cool.
Yeah, you can see how my thought process is.
Great horny toads.
Yes.
We have a this is probably a serious question. I don't think this is a joke. Brian Blevins asks, if I get 4 of your sketch pledges, can I get Boba, He-Man, She-Ra, and Brave Star?
Whew.
He's gonna buy. I think he's gonna buy 4 pledges.
Wow. If you do, if that's a big chunk there. Message me later. No, I quite honestly, I mean, if you are serious, then well, let's. Otherwise, I don't want to start doing. Let's have a
message. Blevins, message John on what do you want him? Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, Twitter is good.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the things that we talked about with John behind the scenes is, how he is very specific on staying to schedule and updating his pledges about where he is in the project. And, as we said before, he got his last campaign. He really wants to get this in, and there's a reason for, his time frame for this year, so, if you want to kind of talk about when you're looking at this to be out.
Yes. The thing is that I want to, if I can hit my schedule and raise my, get my funding, and that's, I got another 15 days on that, I believe. And so if I can reach the $1,500 mark, then I can have the books out and, printed and get it to your hands by Christmas for your kids.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And so guys, we've got 16 days left on this campaign. And he's just over 0.5% funded. 61% funded. We got to hit that goal. We've got to get this out so that the children can get the book in their hands for Christmas, and the adult children that are backing it. So if you can, get out there, help spread the word. I mean, a lot of you guys I know in the chat bring up, we need to get the youngsters involved. We need to get more books out there for the kids. Here's your opportunity. Get it out there and, help push it. Share it on your Facebook, share it on your Twitter, share it on your Instagram, whatever you can do. Let's help get John's books out there, because the more he can get out there, the more he can produce. The series can continue. He can create new series. We can bring more books into the young people's hands and allow them to take the journey most of us took.
I'm trying. I have plans to do more Mega Mooses, but I'd like to do like every 6 months, a new 28-page, issue, and do it that way. For those people who can't afford, $15-20, I still have like a $3 and $4 perk, for the PDFs, if you just can't do that. So therefore, everybody, there's like, it goes from, $3, $4, then it's $15, and with shipping, then and adding on to that, so it's like $20, and it goes 20, 25, 45, 50. That's there's a wide range of perks and tiers.
Yeah. Have you ever considered, and I've seen this with other all ages books or for younger readers books, they do like donation tiers where like it's, people buy it, but it's actually, when they buy that pledge, it maybe gives, one of each issue to a local, children's hospital.
They can do that. Like they can do whatever they want with it. I mean, it's theirs to do. I can't. Once it's sent to you, you go ahead and do whatever you wish. I mean, for example, with the tiers, I have an add-on, for the coloring books. Like in other words, an add-on perk that you can add another a copy in case you only have more than one artist. You can add on the Snuffy and Zoe drawing book, onto that for about $8, and so. But once again, whatever you want to do, you could buy. You pledge and support the book, the campaign, and do whatever you wish with the books. I don't know about how Indiegogo does with whether or not you can redo. Can you just keep adding on and just pledging again, or is it just one time that people can do? I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. I know it is different than, I know like Kickstarter is kind of like a set, you're kind of at your set point, but I know Indiegogo allows you to add on it, change things. I've never had to do it. I pretty much just pledge for the levels I want and I leave it at that. But I do know there's people that go in and add stuff and whatnot. I don't know if you can change it or if you can just back another level. I'm not sure. Maybe someone in the chat knows.
Yeah. However, it is. I've not done any of that myself, but anyway, I appreciate any all the help I can get to reach this goal, and to be able to get books out to kids. I mean, I kind of think of myself now as a Johnny Appleseed of books of comics.
Hey man, it's good stuff. It's good to see, and you'll definitely reach your goal. You'll definitely reach your goal. Yeah. Now, will you go in demand with this for a while?
Yeah, I will go in demand if I get the thing. I intend to do that. That's one of the things I want to do is to if I can get in demand, then that means like every 5 or 6 months I can add another book, as a tier thing, and say, okay, I'm now episode. I got another issue of Mega Moose is now on for a bit. Available, and those who haven't been able to, who weren't aware of the other books, can come on in and keep it going. I think that was the easiest. That to me, that's the best thing about the Indiegogo campaigns.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is because you can keep it. You can keep your in demand open as long as it sees that you still have traffic. Once you have a point of where nothing is happening and you hit a dead spot, they close it on you. If you don't close it yourself. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great platform. And, we wish you the best of luck with this. Frank is good every morning. He sits down, has his tea, his biscuits, watches his wife makes his eggs, and he picks a couple campaigns to post. And, we'll continue to push this through our channels as well, and still help spread the word on Facebook and Twitter. I try to do Instagram as much as I can, but that one drives me nuts. Hey, John, how can people out there that are watching and are going to watch this recorded, how can they stay in touch with what you're doing? Where can they follow you?
You can follow me on at Celestri John. CELESTRIJOHN. And that's on Twitter. And here on YouTube, it's John Celestri, or John the Animator guy. And I've got a blog. I'm on Facebook also as John Celestri. You keep it simple because that's just Google me and you'll find me all over the place.
There you go.
There's not that many John Celestris.
No.
That's how I do it. Mine's just at Nile Scout. That's it. Very simple. Facebook, Nile Scout. Instagram, Nile Scout. That's it. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I wish I had the amazing in my name, but that was only given to one truly amazing guy.
Yeah.
So, and he's my brother-in-law. He's family. He's family. But hey, John, it was great having you on, man. We really appreciate it. Again, I bit my tongue because I just want to keep talking animation with you. I love that. We got to do an animation show, Frank.
Yes, we definitely do. Oh, and by the way, even though John mentioned it before, he does have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
So.
We'll add that to the description of the show. I did not put that in the description prior to us going live, but myself and Frank will pop that in there. This way people can go and do it. And then, check out the, your principles of animation there and, some of your other videos and things that you have. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I've got Blevins backstage for you, John, so you guys can chat about his post there. And everyone, we will see you tomorrow night and also Thursday night. It's going to be a great week. And Frank, who do we have on tomorrow night's show?
Ooh, see, you put me on the spot here, but I'm going to look it up because I didn't know that we were going to talk about it. So first is Jason Brubaker. He's got an Indiegogo project, Phobos. And then after that, we're going to be going live because Peter Smetty's going to be on he starts his campaign tomorrow. The next installment of Alterna Comics.
Fantastic. So tomorrow's going to be a great show. We got two great creators, Alterna Comics, publisher, creator, director. Peter Simeti will be joining us. It's always great having Peter on the show. So everyone, we will see you tomorrow night at 9. John, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Great. That's fun. I'm going to back it myself once I'm off the air so you guys can't see my personal information. But then again, I guess you could see my address because I always could go for a nice edible arrangement. Yeah. But what are you going to do? Anyways, everyone, have yourselves a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and also click the bell for notifications when we go live and we upload some awesome new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP. And over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.